fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off, quite a few things have happened. After Izuku Midoriya got stabbed by Eraserhead, he found an unlikely ally. And Midoriya and this person, they did talk. The girl learned that Midoriya is the actual son of Nightcrawler, the pro hero whose mantle he has taken on as a vigilante. Now, along with that, the girl did ask Midoriya to repay her with some money, since she did buy the things that Midoriya was using to re-energize himself after losing a lot of blood. Electrolytes, snacks, and, well, things he does actually need. Now, Midoriya, yeah, he went above and beyond. This girl just saved his life. If it wasn't for her, Light Shadow probably would not have been able to treat him properly, and he might have died. So Midoriya, he's repaying that debt. Currently, these two are living together in an apartment not too far away from UA. The original plan was for them to live in two separate apartments. Midoriya just bought the place, so that way it would be easier. However, there was one problem. There's only one vacant room, or apartment, building. Now, Midoriya and her are roommates, and they both did try out for UA, where Midoriya, he reunited with some unlikely friends, and an unlikely enemy. Midoriya reunited with his brother and his friend Bakugo, along with the very man who stabbed him, Eraserhead, who is his teacher. Now, with that being said, Eraserhead has quickly deduced that Midoriya is not a vigilante candidate, since the boy, he seems to be a bit too inexperienced and possibly even traumatized. Along with that, Eraserhead, he is trying to piece it all together. The kid doesn't seem to be all that much. The vigilante gave him a beating, and actually was able to beat the shit out of him. If the guy didn't run off when he did, he probably could have killed him. He does respect that level of, well, tactic and skill, unaware that it was just raw power and luck. Now, they've also checked the hospitals, and Aizawa has been trying to find any leads as to where his weapon could have ended up, as we actually have Midoriya who kept the weapon. He doesn't know of a proper place where he can dispose of it. So yeah, that's currently hiding out in a closet at his apartment. As for today, we do have Izuku, who he is still recovering and he's at home. As you actually do have Yui, who would ask Midoriya while he's working out if he really does believe that he should be doing that. Midoriya, slowly doing sit-ups, explaining to her that he feels almost completely okay. Now, Yui is kind of weirded out by that, talking about how he was stabbed. Yeah, and? So, doesn't that take like a few months to heal? Now, Light Shadow would pop out and say that actually stab wounds like that, or the one Midoriya at least did receive, didn't run too deep. The main thing was that it most likely pierced a little bit of the organ. And with the regenerative capabilities of the liver, as he would go on talking about a bunch of medical knowledge, and about how it's basically like a very deep paper cut. Now, it is nowhere near like that, but that is what Light Shadow does basically explain it as, in a synopsis. Now, Yui does find it all kind of hard to believe. Basically, all Midoriya has to do is wait for his skin to completely heal and seal up the wound, which will take some time. Now, Midoriya, he is still doing sit-ups, as Yui is actually looking over at him while she's on the couch. And she's trying to piece it all together, as she does stare at Light Shadow, who's holding Midoriya's legs. And she does ask a question that has been in her mind for quite a bit of time. So, Midoriya actually coming up as he does turn his head to look at her, as Light Shadow does the exact same thing. So what? Oh, well, why is he in the shape of a bird? Now, Midoriya would just look at Light Shadow, as he does stare at him for a second, before he does have a questionable look on his face. What? Is that not what he's supposed to look like? No, it's just I've never really questioned it. Huh? Yeah, for as far as I've known, I've always taken on the appearance of a bird. Yeah, it's kind of like he says. Now, Yui does just ask if Light Shadow can fly. To which Midoriya, with that avenue opened, he does think for a minute. Can Light Shadow fly? Well, technically he's completely weightless, being made of light. But at the same time he does have mass and carry, well, some sort of weight, right? Now, Midoriya's tactical brain does start to have its gears move. If Light Shadow can fly, that can open up so many different avenues for them. And it's making him kind of curious. Now, with that being said, Midoriya and Light Shadow do talk for a minute, as Yui does watch these two and look at their conversation, as she does somewhat smile. Now, we actually do then have the combat portion for the heroes versus villains for UA. Now, in this amount of time, Midoriya has been exploring this little avenue with Light Shadow, and it has made him very curious. Now, Midoriya, he was completely taken by surprise to learn that All Might was their teacher for the year. As we actually do then have, where everyone is introducing themselves for hero costumes. Now, we actually will pick up with All Might seeing everyone walk out, as we do cut to the command center, where Eraserhead and Principal Nezu, along with Midnight and some other teachers, are all watching, as they do ask Mr. Aizawa if his sneaking suspicion is if one of those boys are a vigilante. Well, it's quite possible. However, ruling them out is both easy and difficult at this exact same time. Well, Mr. Aizawa, Mr. Nezu would go on stating, as he would say the following sentence. The complete idea that neither one of these boys feel rage or anger at the men who murdered both of their parents is absolutely ridiculous. Both these boys are angered. They're also saddened. At the same time, they are grieving. One of them left the country while the other one was physically recovering in the hospital. The idea that both these boys could be a vigilante, or at least one of them could be it, is somewhat preposterous. However, at the exact same time, both their quirks do meet certain qualifications that this vigilante has at least reached. Mr. Nezu going on to state that he would believe that the vigilante that he encountered posing as Nightcrawler has a telekinesis quirk, with the way he does describe that he was caught. Now, Aizawa, he does try to explain it a bit better. He's dealt with people like that with telekinesis. However, this felt a bit stranger. It felt more mechanical than smooth. Well, that cannot be ruled out. Now, as Aizawa is looking at Nezu and saying this, he actually does have his eyes jump up to the right, to the screen, as Tokoyami and Midoriya would both walk out in their hero outfits. Now, everyone is staring at both these two, since the designs are almost complete knockoffs of each other. Tokoyami with a black cloak, and Midoriya with a white cloak. Now, a lot of people are staring, and we actually do have Midoriya who does take pride in what he's wearing. As you do see Tokoyami, who he looks like you just put him in a ridiculous outfit, with how angry or at least embarrassing he does seem to be. However, he does also hold his head up high. This is a hero outfit inspired by their father, so he will wear it with pride. Now, we actually do then have Midoriya, who he does seem to be kind of acting a bit nervous. Now, hero teams are paired, along with villain teams. Now, with that being said, we do have Izuku Midoriya, who he is paired up with Toru. And we do have the villains team, where it is Momo and Tokoyami. Now, this is quite the interesting matchup. And we actually do have whenever Midoriya and Toru are teamed up. Midoriya, he seems to be avoiding eye contact, or at least looking in her direction, as the two do walk in the building. Now, Toru, she kind of would ask a question about this, asking if it's because of her hero costume. To which Midoriya, he would try to explain. Yes, kind of. The way his quirk works is very odd. In fact, he recently did discover a few new things he could do with it. And he even does have a few techniques he does want to try out. But at the same time, there's also something that he's, well, been made aware of since he's joined UA. Midoriya actually turning to look directly where her eyes would be. As Midoriya, he does bring up his hand and flick her on the nose, to which she does move back surprised, as everyone is confused. Now, Toru does bring her hands up, and ask how he did do that. To which Midoriya, he would just turn away as he does pull off his cloak, and hold it up. I don't really know the best way to say this. I'm able to make out features. Now, Midoriya, he does just leave it at that, as Toru does grab the cloak, and demand a proper explanation. Now, Midoriya, he just leaves it at the fact that he can see the way people's bodies are outlined by light, and how that he can at least see her facial features, and that's kind of really about it. Now, we do actually then have where the battle has begun. Tokoyami wants to face off against his brother, and you actually have Momo who's set to guard the bomb. Now, Midoriya versus Tokoyami. These two quickly do go to encounter one another, as we do have Midoriya, who he's created at least some weapons made of light. Now, he has gone to encounter his brother, as we do actually have Tokoyami, who he is staying there with a battle suit of dark shadow, as he does talk about how he's not going to lose just because it's daytime. Now, these two they do fight. Midoriya he does show to have a clear advantage. However, at the same time, he's also being cautious. He's trying to at least show he has no fighting style, instead of the one that he's somewhat developed on the streets and in combat. Now, along with that, we do also have the heroes who are watching. They can tell that Midoriya's movements are somewhat, well, not timed out or planned out. They're not really precise, so they do need to try and act a bit more accordingly on that. The boy does appear to have some strategy. He's using two-handed weapons, or at least two one-handed weapons, and is switching off in between whenever he does have open moments. Now, Midoriya, he also is just trying to touch Dark Shadow with the light manipulation energy. As Dark Shadow, he does shrink or at least decrease in power every time he does attack. Now, Tokoyami, yeah, he does get annoyed, as he does actually go to bring his hand down and reach into a pouch he does have on his leg, as he does pull out some black little balls, as he does go to throw them against the window. As he does, they explode and cover it in paint, as more shadows begin to increase around the area. Now, as it does actually happen, Midoriya, he can tell what his brother is doing, as he also does go to bring his hands up and go to pull out, or at least punch out, the lights with Dark Shadow. Now, Midoriya does see the tactic, and it's basically a yin and yang match. Now, Midoriya, he actually does tell Tokoyami that this has all been quite fun. However, he's going to have to say that he's won now, as you do actually have Midoriya who does go to run forwards. As he does so, he does actually see his brother, who does come running out of the darkness, as he does smash a light bulb and break it. As the moment that did happen, Midoriya deploys Light Shadow, who comes flying off of his back like a bird, and he does directly collide with and form onto Dark Shadow, as the two do collide. Now, you do then have Midoriya, who he actually does tell his brother that was kind of a bad call, as he does walk over into the darkness, where he does bring his finger up and go to put it into the hole where the light bulb was, as sparks begin to come off of his hand. And Light Shadow, he does seem to get bigger and stronger, as he was struggling to hold Tokoyami down, and he did then get a more firm grasp on it. Now, Tokoyami was surprised and caught off guard, as he does simply ask exactly what is this, to which Midoriya he would explain. He's simply putting more and more power onto that part of Light Shadow by focusing and harnessing light and, well, absorbing light. He can increase how much he can take on. So it shouldn't be a surprise that he does have a few new tricks up his sleeve. Now, Midoriya, he would then make his way up to the top floor, him faking an elevator ride and heading up the stairs, Momo being ready for the elevator to open up, as she does go to rush for it as the doors do open. her being caught off guard as Midoriya and Toru do both ambush her. And Midoriya does get her in the capture tape. Now, with that being said, Eraserhead, he does find this all to be quite intriguing. The heroes actually did win. And then there's the battle between the two brothers. Interesting. And from what he does, he has heard the boy's quirk decreases in, well, darkness. It's a weakness that's hard to exploit. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing night. Catch you guys in the next part.